YouTube, welcome to the Tower of Hoeth. Alith and Anar welcoming you specifically. Look at the beautiful rainbows in the background. I mean, you can just tell you're in Ulthuan. Such a nice place. Well, we've got some not so nice visitors. You know how Cylostra Direfan was supposed to show up and sing for us? Well, she's here, but she doesn't want to sing. She wants to fight. You can see her across there with her drowned army. I'm still practicing for the wheel tournament, so by random faction pick, I have ended up with the High Elves. And let me introduce you to my army. I'm going to use this above view real quick. You can actually see my opponent's army too. Let's get introduced to both. So my army is 4 spearmen, 1 extra spearman in the middle, which is the Scions of Mathlan. I have 2 Sisters of Avalorn in the center, and then I have 4 archers. There's 2 on either flank. I'm rocking the Fireborn and a standard Dragon Prince, a Mage of Life on foot, and then Alith and Anar does have his special ability that helps him buff the reload speed of archers within 40 meters. And my Mage of Life just has the Earthblood and Regrowth. Now, as for my opponent is Felkon, and he is a great player, plays in tournaments a lot, so I'm really excited about the challenge of getting to play him. His random pick was the Vampire Coast, and within that he picked the Drown. And so he has got 2 Damned Paladins. Some people might be wondering, how do you pull that off? I thought you could only have 1. Well, there's a glitch, and it is actually okay with tournament rules, so no, he's not cheating. He's got 2 Carronades, and he's also got Cylostra on her giant crab, and then he's got some Syrenes here, the Black Spot, which is a zombie pirate gunnery mob with handguns. He's got 3 gunnery mobs, and they are interspersed with some deckhand mob, the standard variety, and then some with pole arms. And then I think you all saw way back here in the back, he's got 2 scurvy dogs hidden. My army is already under fire from his Carronades, and he is targeting my sisters, which is a very appropriate target for him. It will make his cannons pay off rather quickly, while I have to close the distance to hope to do any good against his army. I thought that I was in range with my sisters, but misread, so I'm going to have to continue moving forward. I do want to get his paladins in range with my sisters before they get too shot up by the cannons. They feel like an appropriate target. Cylostra will take a little more to kill. She's still got some physical resistance, but these paladins being ethereal, I want my sisters to get in range and see if I can deal some serious damage to them early. And I brought the Sisters of Avalorn for a couple reasons. One, because they're really good at killing just about any unit. But secondly, and more importantly, because of their magical damage, because I know that Syrenes, and in this case the Paladins, can be a thing. I'm able to catch Felkon, at least momentarily, with my Sisters of Avalorn, and I do get some pretty nice damage in. I've targeted Cylostra with Alith and Anar. I did not bring his moon bow, so he's just using his standard arrows. I didn't want to spend any more money on him because I know that he's not that great. My 2 Dragon Princes were in case I ran up against Morn Ghouls or other large units that just tried to punch through my spears. Right here, I did manage to see this breath spell coming, and I dodged it. But he canceled the spell quite craftily. Again, Felkon knows how to play the game and did a great job there canceling the spell and not losing his magic. My Dragon Princes, I thought I saw what I wanted to do over here, which was get an easy charge on these gunnery mob, but I was unaware of his scurvy dogs, which are now taking advantage. If you notice here, I'm going to put it into slow motion just real quick. He caught me at a great moment here, and I just want to point it out. I was out of position here with my Dragon Princes, and I still, at this point, have not noticed his dogs. I don't notice them until they get all the way up to about here. So being out of position with my Dragon Prince allows him, and he's going to beeline straight for those Sisters of Avalorn, because that is the target that if he takes it down, gives him the most bang for his buck. My late notice of these scurvy dogs will end up being painful. Let's keep moving. Obviously, the infantry fight is nothing I'm terribly concerned about. He's going to have to use his magic to help equalize the infantry fight. I'm able to turn my Dragon Princes around at this point, start to run away. I just want to buy some time for my sisters mainly. I need to keep the sisters alive, so here comes the Fireborn. But I also have to deal with these incoming Rotting Prometheans, which was an excellent summon and a very timely summon for him because I lost so many sisters here, and I'm going to lose even more against these scurvy dogs. He can use 1 scurvy dog to hold back one of my Dragon Princes while the other one continues to do damage. And again, these Rotting Prometheans will last a lot longer than I like. So, yeah. Over here, again, infantry fight going pretty well for me. Pretty happy with the way things are doing here, but we do have to deal with Cylostra and this kind of stuff. So she summons up a damned Knights Errant. So I'm going to have to deal with that now, which is going to be a tough unit to take down. Infantry fight, like I said, okay-ish for me right now. Nothing's going too bad. He's going to move up his paladins now because he's safe to do so. My sisters have been busied, and it's going to be harder for me to respond to his paladins incoming. I do have this one Sisters Avalorn that has regrouped. This one has 50 of their numbers, but are probably under carronade fire. I'm having to use my Fireborn to chase out the Knights Errant, and then over here I'm going to intercept the Paladins with my other Dragon Princes, and I'm getting pressured now by some of his deckhand mob that's broken through. And I don't really want to end up in melee with these deckhand mob. They may look like they're really beat up, but they've still got 2,000 hit points. Over here I've been trying to target in on the damned Knights Errant to get rid of them. And I'm going to bring my my Fireborn cavalry back over here. And the center Cylostra has swung in. These Syrenes are now coming up too. This is potentially devastating for me because they can cause terror. And could really be a lot of trouble for me. So if we just take a look at the overall picture here, we're doing all right. Again, melee fight, I'm feeling pretty confident, like, okay, maybe some of these will wrap up for me, and I'll be able to get some good damage done. But at this point, he's going to have a lot of units breaking in towards my archers. These Syrenes are fairly quick, and then he's got the two Paladins coming after me as well, and I've only got one Sister, so I can't split them between two Sisters. At this point, I'm like, all right, you know what, I'm going to cut my losses a bit. I'm just going to target a lot of my standard archers on Cylostra. She's a big target. Relatively easy target to hit. Another fantastic summon from Felkon intercepts my Fireborn. My Fireborn can win that fight, but it's going to bog him down through some very critical time here. Alith Anar, I'm just trying to keep him away and to keep him firing. And right now I'm just leveling everything I can level at Cylostra. I need to keep her hurt, preferably dead, or re-dead. This Spearman needs to be activated here. I think here in a moment I'm going to send the Spearman back here to try and pressure the carronade, though he does have a deckhand mob back there. And my efforts to kill Cylostra are paying off relatively quick. She is a huge target, but she also has a lot of armor. 150 armor, it's going to take a while, and quite a few arrows. Fortunately for me, the Fireborn are tanking significantly, and I've got spear support incoming to help them. Cylostra now getting to be in pretty dire trouble. Pun intended, I guess. Thank goodness for me. I need her gone. If I can break the leadership, potentially, I can crumble these units, but I'm also dealing with Banshees back here who are mopping up that Sister of Avalorn, which is good. The fact that they're mopping it up, and they need to, is giving me a little bit of extra time to fire, and I do down Cylostra at this point. Still got my Spellcaster alive, and I have some magic, so I'm hoping to use that to my advantage, but those carronades are relentless, and there's very little I can do about them right now other than get shot. And that is definitely not what I need. With all my knights piled up right here and his ethereal paladins in there, it was a great trade for him. So my knights got pummeled, but if I pull my knights back, I still get shot, and he could get to my archers, so it's a bit of a challenging situation right now. I just don't have an answer to the carronades. He's going to be able to intercept me with his deckhand mob, but at least I've got something back there to try and pressure him. The Black Spot Gunnery mob, I'm chasing them with some regrouped spears. I may not win that fight, though. Zombies are fairly resilient against really low health units like I've got there. Trying to get away from his Syrenes. I've got some spearmen. Some of my cavalry is regrouping. I really need to get this paladin off of me, but I think he's going to pull it back maybe in a moment. He's trying to get some damage in here against my spellcaster, and he's going to get it really quickly. I can't really do much to defend my Mage of Life at this point. It's going to get beat up badly before I can get anything over to support. Fortunately for me, Alith Anar did get a decent shot right there with his last shot, and I do manage to tie the Syrenes down for just a moment with my Dragon Princes. I've only got 6 Fireborn cavalrymen left. Syrenes taking damage, but a lot slower than I would like here. I'm using Alith Anar, anything I can to slow the Syrenes down. Alith Anar does not have magical attacks, though he does sport pretty good weapon strength. The problem is the Syrenes can ignore him because he's a single entity on foot, and they're not going to get penalized too badly for doing so. Any damage I can do to the Paladin, I need it done. So that's what I'm attempting to do. His carronades are just absolutely blasting me, and there's very little I can do about it. My infantry did not defeat his black spot mob, and I am paying for that now. I am getting some crumbling on the Sirens, which is very fortuitous for me, and as you all can see, this is going to be a tight finish. A tight finish indeed. My spearmen back here are doing a good job, but I mean, the zombies are going to be zombies, which means they're going to have a crap load of hit points. They're not going to be terribly effective, but they'll have a lot of hit points, and they're doing all that zombies need to do, which is to block you from getting to a more important unit and to waste your own hit points. I pulled out the false Alith Anar just to throw a little something on the battlefield. I've got to get over here and get rid of these Sirens, and they finally pinned down in melee, so I should be able to do it. A couple of hits will help speed them along. So Alith and his fake are able to come over here and disintegrate the Sirens, so this is good news. I have a few units regrouped over here. The bad news is the power bar is actually slightly in my favor, but this fleeing spellcaster is still being chased and killed. And as soon as it dies, yeah, you can see the power bar right there actually shifted quite a bit. It's not helping. Not helping. So I'm going to refocus everything over here towards the black spot. Again, the carronades, look at that, 63 kills. This one's almost got a chevron, 75 kills. So it's been brutally effective. And I didn't have any mobility that could get to it easily. My dragon princes were already caught unaware by the scurvy dogs. And then the fact that my dragon princes were constantly keeping everything else away. I'm having regret of the dragon princes, and I was even talking to Felkon afterwards, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I feel like you should have dropped the dragon princes and just brought more other stuff, like silver helms, and that would have saved you money. And I'm like, yeah, I don't disagree. Don't disagree, because the dragon princes are probably a bit overkill against the Vampire Coast factions. So I keep hoping the black spot finally dies. I'm going to take my more beat up archer and see if I can just tie down the paladin for a little while. I want these archers to get back closer to Alith. The Scions of Mathlan did come back from routing, but they are a long ways off. And I've got an uphill battle here. There are still shots in these carronades. That one has 2 ammunition and this one has 3. So we still got some pretty serious punishment to receive from these carronades. So the deckhand mob, their leadership is bad. They're getting shot with some of my last bit of ammo. I'm trying to unleash the last volley or so on this archer, but I end up having to charge the deckhand mob. I was hoping that I could get Alith behind him, the archers in front of him, and put a quick crumble to him. They are crumbling. They're at minus 31 leadership. So I was really hoping that I could almost disintegrate these guys, but they end up holding on to just a crumbling. I can't get a disintegration going. So the amount of hit points they have, even though it looks really low over here, that's still, you know, it was about 2,000 hit points. That takes a while to deal with, and it's going to give Felkon time to swing around here with his paladin. We're going to have a very, very close finish on our hands, folks. One carronade is finally out of ammo. This one has 2 more shots. Here comes the paladin. I'm going to try and intercept it with the Alith Anar's. I don't know if it had the charge order on him, so I fairly effectively stop his charge, but Alith Anar just starts expectedly being absolutely throttled by the paladin. That magic damage, the paladin is just, he's definitely a beast compared to Alith Anar in melee. We finally get rid of the deckhand mob with polearms. I've got no answer to this paladin. Alith Anar is going to get wrecked. And what little reinforcements I have aren't really here to help soak up the charges for me from the paladin. You can see them a little too far off, which means that Alith Anar is going to just be a fish out of water here. I can't stop the charges, and my infantry can't catch up over here, so Alith Anar routs, and Felkon comes away with a well-earned victory. That was a tough-fought battle. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot talking to and playing with Felkon tonight. I got to see him play in some tournaments. He's a great player, and it was fun to play against him. And these are the kind of matches that I really enjoy, in the sense that I get to be challenged by someone who is obviously a connoisseur of the multiplayer and quite good at it. So really appreciated it. And I have more matches. A lot of these folks hang out in my Discord. If you guys want to come play games with them, that's probably a good place to come join in. Whether it's them or anybody else in the Discord, you should definitely go check the link in the description. That's where I jumped in to play these battles. And I'm going to be doing it fairly often to help get ready for this tournament. So by random pick, we had High Elves versus the Coast. Felkon brought away a nice victory there. My Archer army, themed with Alith and Anar, had potential, I think, to be good in this matchup because the Vampire Coast does sometimes suffer from a lack of mobility. They're not completely immobile. I did expect to have the long range. The carronades were not a surprise, and they punished my sisters quite badly, which means that they might have also been a questionable pick. And what Felkon pointed out afterwards probably makes a lot of sense, and I had forgotten about this ability, but if you look, I brought the sisters because I needed some magic damage to help give me an insurance policy against the ethereal units. Well, the High Elves don't really have a ton of magic damage units out there. I mean, there's just really not a lot of options. The sisters are one of the only ones. Well, I mean, other than, obviously, you get something crazy like the Keepers of the Flame, but that's also not a good unit to bring to a battle with so much shooting. But sisters, again, why did I bring them? Magic damage, they're decent in melee against unarmored targets. However, they become cannon fodder. What could I have done different? Well, take a look at Alariel here. He reminded me about this ability, the Boon of Isha. It imbues magical damage to any unit within that 40-meter radius. It's also immune to psychology, which can be pretty helpful. Not to mention Alariel doubles as the Lord and Healer, all in one. And then if you want to support her with a Handmaiden, well, the benefit of a Handmaiden is it also has magical attacks. So Handmaiden could have been quite magical missile attacks, I should state, right? The ammunition's magical. So that could have been useful against the Paladins as well. So there's different variants of that army that I could probably pick. And then he also mentioned that, hey, Silver Helms may have been the better choice there. I mean, you look at this, probably don't have to have a shield. You could bring the shield because it gives a nice buff up to the melee defense. But, I mean, if you look at the cost, $18.50 for one Fireborn. I could have had 2 Silver Helms for that same cost. $1,400 would have been like a, I mean, you know, see what I mean? And then, who knows? An Illyrian Reaver or Vanguard deployed right there could have been very useful to put pressure on those 2 carronades and to have tried to force more of that back there. So, and then I would have had 3 cavalry units to try and help hold up some of their other units coming in. Would they have been as good as Dragon Princes? No. But again, in total, I had 2 cavalry units, whereas I could have had 4, potentially, maybe more useful there. Who knows? But it was a great play by Felkon. I enjoyed it, learned from it. This is the kind of stuff I want to help get ready for the tournament. Hope you all enjoyed it too. And guess what? I'm going to be back with more. So stick around. You'll get to see more of this. And if you want to come play me to help get ready for the tournament, hang out in that Discord. I'll be jumping in there some nights to play some battles with y'all.